Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bazil. Welcome to WildStar Wednesday, episode 12. This is the show for the date of 9/3/14, or September 3rd, 2014, however you want to say it. My name is Bazil. Hello. We have MegaServers announced. That's also a thing. This episode is going to be some constructive feedback for Carbine and my personal opinions on what needs to happen in order for the game to survive and grow. And yes, I do believe the game can still grow. A lot of the haters think that that's not possible and the game is dying and the server population is dwindling. This is very true, but let's get into some more details. MegaServers were announced. That's a thing. And I think that Carbine will be able to implement them correctly. They said they're going to have one type of each server for each data center. So that means, I assume that means North America, Oceanic, and European. So they're going to have one PvP and one PvE server per region, and I think that that's going to implement a lot of really, really good stuff to happen. And by stuff, I actually do mean stuff, because we don't know what else they're going to implement. The thread that Cougar posted will be in the description below. I don't want to go over it into too much detail because there's just a lot to read and a lot of information that you guys can read yourself. Now, the reason that I think MegaServers are not a good idea is because I had a bad experience with them in Guild Wars 2. And I was really hoping they would just do a server merge, like Star Wars: The Old Republic did, which boosted the game's life, and they're doing a lot better now. So I think that in that respect, I'm a little leery on making sure that that actually goes over correctly, and I want it to, because this game is fantastic. So Carbine, you have a lot riding on your shoulders, and I know you guys know this, and you guys have been really good at working under pressure, so I can only expect good things to come out of this. I'm really excited, and if you're on some of the lower population servers, apparently the realm transfers are open now to go on to Purgo and Widow, so you can just start transferring that kind of thing. So the next kind of constructive criticism I want to go into is the whole attunement process and the whole hardcore rating and the whole thing. That I know this is going to be an interesting topic, but right now the way that the attunement process is it does not cater to the normal player base of the gaming industry. A lot of MMO players are going to be a lot younger these days. A lot of MMO players are going to be, you know, kind of the wowers, the people that just play casually and just want to have a good time. And I know that sounds really, really strange to say, but it's the truth. I mean, there's multiple studies over and over and over again. The average gamer is going to be, 30 years old. And 10 years ago, the average gamer was 20 years old, and et cetera, et cetera. And as those people have grown up, they have become the casual gamer. They are not the hardcore gamer that they have done. And I'm speaking this from a perspective that I was in one of the top North American guilds in World of Warcraft and Vanilla. I raided. I did all that stuff. I played the game for 12 hours a day and all that fun stuff. So coming at it from a hardcore perspective, believe me when I say that I enjoy that style of gameplay. I enjoy it a lot because it's a lot of fun. But from a constructive criticism standpoint and an objective standpoint, it does not work in today's market. The attunement process is lengthy. The attunement process is way too gated, and some of the stuff is extremely pointless. The rep grind serves no purpose whatsoever. The silver medal dungeons are very necessary to make sure that players know how to do the bosses. I am perfectly okay with them keeping silver and them removing the rep grind. That's perfectly okay. But they have said that they're going to change it from silver to bronze, which again is fine because veteran dungeons is still very, very difficult. There's a couple dungeons that do require a lot of coordination and a lot of effort. With that being said, world bosses really don't serve a purpose for the whole gated content and attunement process. The main reason is when this happens, you have to kill 12 world bosses, and that just does not work. And it's something that needs to be addressed. And my son is here. Hello, buddy. How are you? How's it going, bud? Huh? Do you want to? No, you can't touch the mic. Here, have mommy hold you. No, don't eat the mic. Have mommy hold you till I'm done. Anyway, but as I was saying, the whole gated content in terms of the world bosses, I can understand the appeal to try and do them. I know, exactly. I completely agree. And I think it's okay to do a certain number of world bosses, like the ones at level 50, the ones at the certain zones. Like, I'm trying to think. Like Wilder Run is fine because it's a higher level boss. But like stuff like Metal Maw and those kind of things that really serve no purpose from a level 8 zones. Sure, all the bosses scale, but it's really pointless. There's really no solid reason for that to happen. So I would like to see the world bosses be taken out of the attunement. I would like to see certain aspects of the attunement just kind of laid down for a more casual player base, which, again, coming from that hardcore perspective, I don't like saying it, but for the game to survive, it needs to happen. It absolutely needs to happen. And I think that in the long line and the longevity of the game, if it doesn't happen, it's going to hurt the game itself. There was a reason why Blizzard took away the gated keys and the attunement processes and that kind of stuff. Because people just did not have the time to do it. It's taken me 2 months to get attuned because of just, I'm not that hardcore gamer anymore. I don't have that kind of time to dedicate to it. And I think that it will just benefit the game so much better by taking out some of the steps that really are not necessary in the whole rated kind of attunement thing. Now, with that being said, the issue is the game was marketed towards the quote-unquote hardcore market because people associate 40-mans with hardcore gaming, and that's completely untrue. Hardcore gaming is honestly more of the amount of time you play and put into the game rather than the amount of people that require to beat X objective. In Final Fantasy, I believe Final Fantasy 11, not 14. Two completely different games. Final Fantasy 11, there was a boss that took a guild, I think, 21 hours, if I remember the correct time, and people were passing out, and they never actually got the boss down because it took so long. That is hardcore, and unnecessary, too, because it was literally impossible to beat because it took so long and nothing ever achieved it, and the developers had to step back and go, okay, well, this needs to be nerfed, obviously, because no one's going to be able to do this, and people were physically getting sick and that kind of stuff, and that you can't do that. That does not signify hardcore. All that signifies is it's just a pain in the ass. So without bringing up the hardcore aspect, I think that the changes in WildStar do need to happen. And the way that the game can also benefit from this kind of looking away from the hardcore mentality is don't market it that way anymore. Market it to, hey, this is just a really, really good MMO, and that's what the game is. It's a fantastic MMO. The combat is extremely good. It's extremely high skill based, and it's fun and challenging. And there's just a lot of stuff to the game itself. So, trying to market your MMO or your game to the hardcore audience really doesn't work anymore. So, I'd really encourage Carbine, and especially the community, to stop using that term about the game WildStar, because the game itself is not hardcore. The game itself is challenging, and there's a huge difference to that. Now I want to talk a bit more about MegaServers and how that might impact the game as a whole. And as I stated in the beginning, the longevity is very important. So MegaServers are going to help with that. And I was actually talking to Jazzy Chua on Twitter, who hosts the show This Week in WildStar, and I suggest checking out the show. Got a link in the description of her latest episode. It's also on PayPal. I don't think so. It's also on iTunes. There we go. There's the right program. And we were talking about it, and she was like, you know what? I'm not entirely sure if I want to go on to a PvP server when it's the whole MegaServers. And she brought up the point that there'd be a lot more active PvPers than there are now. We're both on the server Pego, and she's Dominion, I'm Exile. And the Dominion population is next to nothing, and the Exile population is pretty much next to nothing. A lot of the smaller servers that are not Pergo, and I think Widow is the other PvP server that's a little bit more popular because it has like the RPers and stuff on it as well, has the population. So there are people that are not going to want to go on to a PvP MegaServer. And we were talking to Cooler about it on Twitter as well, and we were kind of trying to go back and forth, hey, can we do this? And he didn't have the answer right now because that requires extra testing, estrogen? Apparently that requires estrogen. That just requires extra testing. So right now they're just testing a simple merging all the servers into one server. And it might be a problem for some people, and that's another reason why I never really liked MegaServers, is because it's too hard to go, well, I was going to server transfer to this anyway, but now I have to wait for all the servers to merge, because server transfers still aren't open to a lot of people. They just opened server transferring onto Pergo from like Pago and some of the smaller servers. So that's cool. But in terms of the longevity of the game and how that helps the player base, that's actually a good thing, because it's going to allow the players and just the community in general to further kind of communicate with each other and come into it as a group and as a more community. The reason that there was too many servers open in the first place is because they had a lot of people coming into the game they didn't expect, and they didn't want people to wait, so they just opened up more and more servers, which is great. But what they should have done is, as the population started to go down, because that happens after the first month, people don't want to play anymore, they go back to WoW. You know, it happens. It's normal in MMO's lifespan. And as they saw that, I think that they should have probably condensed the servers, brought WildStar into Pago, and just kind of condensed servers as the population started to go a little bit down, because that's what happens. But and I also think as a community, we need to stop complaining, because it is just not good. It doesn't make the developers feel appreciated. It doesn't make them have an easier job. Now, we can understand that there's going to be a lot of frustration and a lot of just hurt feelings when we see the developers maybe not respond to our post or our Twitter or our Reddit post or thread or comment or whatever. But that doesn't mean that they're not paying attention and listening. Carbine definitely has slipped a little bit in terms of the no BS policy, and I think Gaffney stepping down has a lot to do with that. And there's some valid concerns there as well. But time will tell, and we'll kind of see how that goes and if they actually keep that policy, because unfortunately NCSoft is known for really sticking their nose where they don't belong and ruining a lot of really, really good games. And it's really, really sad to see that. NCSoft, you guys really have something special with WildStar, so don't ruin it. I mean, honestly, don't stick your nose in where you literally have no business in. You don't know how to run a game. You don't know how to run an MMO. It's fairly clear that every time you stick your face into something, it gets completely pooped on. And so just leave it alone. Just go away. We don't want you. Carbine, I know you guys are trying. You guys are doing a good job. And the game will stabilize, and the community will stabilize. And I hope that you guys are able to get the sub numbers that you guys are shooting for, and I hope that the cred system is giving you guys a lot of good profit, because you guys certainly deserve it. But the last thing I kind of want to say to you guys is watch your egos. That's very important. I know that you guys want to do the whole hardcore thing, and you guys want to cater to that, but it's not going to live in this market, and that's the God honest truth. So I think that there is a few of you that do need to put your egos aside and say, you know what, we need to let go of the hardcore aspect and make the game what it needs to be in order for it to survive. Because the game survives. You guys have pretty much just, flipped off the rest of the MMO developers and said, look what we can do. We can make a game that pretty much is the pinnacle of success, even though we had a bad start. And you guys can really show what it takes to create an MMO and really listen to your community. Because if you guys stick to your principles, I can promise you will be rewarded. And if you don't, you guys are going to end up like a lot of the MMOs coming out over the last 10 years and falling on their face. And I don't want to see that, because the game is amazing, and you guys definitely deserve to be at the top of the MMO hill. So just kind of watch your egos and continue to do what you're doing. Keep that no BS policy in place. Never get rid of that. Be open and honest, like you guys have been doing. You guys have been doing a lot better, so I'm very, very thankful for that. But yeah, guys, that's really all I had to say. And God bless. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, or morning, and end card.